Ooh. We're hooked into the microphone system. You guys can take a seat here. Just fair warning, our driver is a little crazy, so, you know, maybe just be ready to... Are we good? Okay, I want to welcome you all to our community presentation here. We are really thrilled to have been invited to do this by Dr. Leck and be able to show this off to the community. So I think we have a couple of school board members here from Jamestown Public Schools, so thank you guys for coming, and to Dr. Leck for being here. I think we have a couple of board members from JVRA who helps run this robotics team here, so thank you guys. A huge shout out to Rory, who will be presenting in a little bit here. He is from Fargo. He's kind of like the North Dakota lead mentor with FIRST, the competition that we go to, and he's also the president of the STEM Alliance over in Fargo. And then thank you to Jason and Jamestown Video for live streaming this event so that anyone who wasn't able to make it here in person is able to do that. So I suppose I should introduce myself, maybe. My name's Jordan Montgomery. I'm the coach for the FIRST Robotics team here in Jamestown. We are a co-op team, so we work primarily with Jamestown Public Schools, but we invite all the local schools in our area to come join our team. Right now, we have what is essentially an all-rookie team this year. This is the 6th year the team has existed. All of them graduated yet last year, so we had to start fresh. So we are missing one member, so we have 6 kids total, which is pretty incredible, the amount of work that they did for 6 students. I guess we'll take a moment here to introduce them. I have a couple of mentors around here. So Mark is my father. He's been working with the team for 5 years, and I think he likes them more than he likes me. So, but that's his best kept secret. We also have Brandon Schmitz, who is the president of the board for James Valley Robotics Association. He's the one who originally came to Mr. Gaylor 6 years ago and asked to start up a robotics team, and so he's been here ever since. And he does a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to all the things I can't do, so thank you. We do have Ryan and Aaron in the audience here who have been amazing mentors. Ryan's been with us, I think, 6 years now. Steve was here, who has been a mentor for us before. And Aaron, is this your 2nd year? And he's also the one responsible for powder coating our robots and making them look really good. So huge shout out to them. We'll start with Brennan here. He's our, come step out here so the camera can see you guys too. Brennan is our main driver for this year. So he's the crazy driver I warned you guys all about. Just keep that in mind. We have Maya, who helped Maya did all of our media at competition, and of the almost 2,000 pictures she took, we have a huge number of really amazing shots of our robot in action. At the end of this, we invite you to tour our robotics space, and we have one of those slideshows running. Next, we have Lena. Lena's kind of like a legacy. I think she's the first legacy we have on the team here. Her sister graduated last year from the program, and we kind of got her to join, and I hope she's really excited to come back next year again and maybe drag her other sister in so we can have 2 legacies. Then we have Brock. Brock is our co-driver. He's the one who controls the arm and shoots, so try not to shoot anyone today with the robot. And then lastly, we have Cody. Cody is our student coach for the drive team, so he's the one standing behind the drivers, telling them what to do when they choose to listen. And he will also be speaking just briefly with you guys about the impact the program has had on him as a student here. I also want to take a moment here to talk about James Valley Robotics Association. James Valley Robotics Association was established in 2021 during COVID as a means to expand STEM programming and STEAM programming in our area. And they've taken over a lot of the programming for the FIRST Robotics team here, and they do a phenomenal job. So huge shout out to them. They partner with Jamestown High School most actively, and so with a combination of Jamestown High School and JVRA, we are actually able to continue this program and hopefully see it continue to grow. Though it would be a mistake if I didn't mention some of the other programs that JVRA has started. And I really want to give a huge shout out to our newest program with JVRA, which is LEGO Robotics. Most of our students here have volunteered with that LEGO Robotics program this year to help grow that. And what that is we bring some LEGO kits into the elementary schools. We went to 3 elementary schools this year, and they teach the kids how to build and design the LEGO robots, program them, and then the kids have a competition on a much smaller scale than what we do here, and it has been a huge success. Our students are pretty competitive with each other when they're, mentoring the elementary students. And with that, we are going to be partnering with Jamestown Arts Center this summer, which is August 5th through the 8th. And we will be offering 2 summer camps during that time. The first one is for grades 5 through 9. This is the LEGO Robotics camp, where you'll learn all about all the things that we have been bringing into the elementary schools this year. So if you know anyone that is, grades 5 through 9 and that are interested in doing that this summer, fantastic opportunity. We're very excited to be able to do that. And if you have students that are K through 4, we also have a camp for them. We call it LEGO Design Time, and it'll be focused less on making the robot move and more on starting to learn the design process and bringing out your creativity and designing some LEGO robots. Again, we're really excited to be partnering with the Arts Center this summer to be able to provide that. So, I think the next thing we want to talk about is the team performance, which is probably when I'm going to go off script the most. I am unbelievably proud. I think proud isn't even a strong enough word in these students' ability and the commitment that they have brought to this team. Remember, all rookie team, 6 students, and they are doing the work and competing against teams that have 20 to 30 to 40 students on them with sometimes double or triple the funding that our team has, right? And they are holding their own at these competitions. This team went to St. Cloud this year. They ranked 13 overall. And we got to be a backup team when we went in the finals of that competition and actually got to play in the final matches for that competition, which is an amazing achievement for these students. They have had to learn what is the equivalent of 2 college degrees in the course of 3 weeks. They've learned the design process. They've learned manufacturing. Some of them have learned some of the programming that's required to run this robot, right? All extremely advanced things that high school students generally aren't even scratching the surface of. And they're doing all this in their free time, which is why, this program is probably one of the most intense that we have in our community in terms of a commitment. So can we all just give these guys a round of applause for They've learned a lot this year, and I'll be honest, I was looking through pictures earlier today, getting the slideshow ready, and I swear they've even grown some since the start of the year, and that seems crazy because it's only been since January, December that I've really known them, and you know, it's one of the best privileges to be able to see students learn and grow. It's why I'm an educator, and it's why I continue to work with the robotics team here. Okay, I think you guys have heard enough of my voice for today. So now I'm going to turn it over to Rory. Again, he works with STEM Alliance. He works directly with FIRST, and he's going to talk a little bit about what FIRST is.
Thanks, Jordan. My name's Rory Held. I have been part of FIRST for about 15 years, serving as a mentor and volunteer. I started with Team 876 Hatton Northwood and currently mentor 7048 in Fargo. I've been around to see some of the best games FIRST has put out, some of the worst games FIRST has put out. I am a volunteer. I'm generally found on the field as an FTAA. I'm sure a lot of the students here recognize me from St. Cloud. I was on the field watching that awesome machine run. This team has done unbelievable for the tenure that they've had. It's great to see where they're at and to see where they're going to be. I'm here to represent FIRST today with my tenure in the state and also looking at the roadmap ahead. We were working with FIRST. FIRST at a glance may appear to be just a simple robotics school activity, but it is more than that. It was founded in 1989 by Dean Kamen and Woody Flowers. For those of you that don't know, Dean Kamen is the inventor of the portable dialysis machine, the Segway. Woody Flowers is a esteemed professor from out east and an influence to everyone in FIRST. FIRST's mission is to inspire young people to be science and technology leaders and innovators by engaging in exciting mentor-based programs that build science, engineering, and technology skills, foster self-confidence, communication, leadership in its participants. FIRST aims to inspire young people. It does so by creating an environment of excitement and curiosity around science and technology. Through engaging and hands-on programs, FIRST ignites passion for learning and exploration in students of all backgrounds. Whether they're building a robot, coding software, or competing, participants are inspired to think creatively, problem solve, and push boundaries of what is possible. Certainly, if talking to any of these students and you ask them what they thought was possible at the beginning of the year and what's possible now, I'm sure that has changed. I know it has changed for a lot of other teams throughout the year. FIRST empowers students to take ownership of their learning, push students to be better. Mentors guide and support students, offering expert advice and encouragement along the way. The mentorship model not only enhances technical skills, but also instills important qualities such as perseverance, collaboration, and adaptability. Now, threw a lot of general information at you. What it comes down to is during the 2023 season, there were roughly 3,300 FRC high school level teams in 31 countries across the world with roughly 83,000 participants. Out of those 83,000 schools, students, all of them had similar experience, finding out at kickoff what they were building, what they were going to have to do for the next 6 weeks, and then going off to competition. Not only that, but the last 9 years, FIRST has been conducting studies and research. And research and studies have shown that students participating in FIRST are 2.5 to 3.5 times more likely to pursue degrees in STEM education, engineering, programming, all of the different disciplines. There's also been strong links to students participating in FIRST that continue to have an interest in STEM throughout the rest of their lives as well. So long story short, lots of data in front of you. First is the hardest fun anyone could ever have. I'm sure you guys have heard that before, hardest fun you've ever had. It's 6 weeks to build a machine like that to compete against teams from around the world and across North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and the rest of them. Going forward right now, we have 7 teams in North Dakota. There have been more in the past. Certainly challenges have arose, but North Dakota is growing in first. Over the next few years, we hope to continue to add teams, which means we'll be adding more competitions, more events, more hands-on events. Certainly when they started to go to kickoff, you were probably not going to kickoff and shipping your kit parts and your kickoff supplies to the school or having to drive further and further. More events are coming up. We're adding more things. We're working on trainings, try to get more students interested. It has also been noticed at different levels throughout the state of North Dakota. Currently, there's discussions with CTE to incorporate FIRST into more schools across North Dakota. And there's also discussions with other schools to join FIRST so that instead of having to drive to St. Cloud or Duluth or anywhere like that, maybe someday we'll have a FIRST competition right here in Jamestown. Certainly, I couldn't be more proud than anyone else with the students in North Dakota. I've seen 15 graduating classes come through FIRST, and they've all been significant and a ton of fun to watch. So again, be very proud of these students. They're doing a lot of hard work, and they built an amazing robot in 6 weeks. So I'll hand this back over to Jordan. If you got any questions, feel free to catch me anytime.
Again, thank you to Rory for willing to come up here and talk about FIRST. He's way more qualified than I am to talk about the organization. He's been with it longer than I have. I also want to point out that of one of the teams that went to the World Champions this year, it was one of his teams. So, and it was really fantastic to be able to watch Worlds. It would have been great if we would have been competing in Worlds. Next year, right? Given how much these kids did this year, there's no limit to their abilities. I do have to say, though, when we started doing really well during our qualifying matches, I pulled Brandon aside and I'm like, we're going to have to figure out how to get these kids down to Texas in order to go to this World Champions. I'm like, I don't want to drive a shuttle bus down there. That's not going to be very fun. We're going to have to figure out how to get the robot down there. Ooh, and I think we dodged that bullet this year, but next year, I guess we will be trying to figure out how to get the team there. So hopefully, right? And the team's really excited because next year's event is called Water Games, which is a terrifying prospect when it comes to electronics and robots. Hopefully they don't actually have water on the playing field. But I think our team is going to be able to handle this pretty well next year. Now, we talk a lot about STEM, we talk a lot about FIRST and the statistics that come out of it, and sometimes we miss the message of why this is important. And I think it's important to talk a little bit about what STEM looks like in when students leave high school and they're going out into the real world. And STEM careers are always on the rise, right? This is jobs from manufacturing, engineering, programming, all kinds of things like this, right? And these are the future jobs that are going to shape our world moving forward. And so, as educators, right, or as an educator myself, one of my goals is to make sure that my students are as prepared to go into the real world and to be as successful as possible in the real world, which means making sure that they have access to STEM programs like FIRST Robotics here. That being said, I can talk infinitely about how well the team did and how it's impacted them, but I think the best person to maybe talk about this is one of the students. So we're going to have Cody come up here, and he's going to talk just briefly about his experiences with FRC Robotics this year and how it's impacted him.
Thank you, Jordan. So, like you said, I'm Cody. I'm sort of the team captain of this ragtag group. But yeah, I'm sort of here to tell you about the student experience. So going into this year, none of us had much of a clue what we were getting into. We all sort of had an idea, like, hey, we're going to be building a robot and competing against a whole bunch of other teams. But that's about all. We didn't know what we were going to be doing, what we were getting into, the time and effort that we'd be putting into this. But looking back on it, I think most of us would have tried to be here more. Towards the end of the season, it was getting towards crunch time, and we didn't have a whole lot. Well, we had quite a bit left to do. I think we were still programming it on the way to competition. So we all had to pitch in quite a bit. We learned a whole lot, like Jordan said, programming, 3D modeling, sewing, electrical. Some of us did more than others in specific areas, but it was pretty much everyone does everything. And speaking of that, our mentors, we have to give them a huge round of applause because they have been there. They helped us learn all of this stuff. Ryan helped us a lot on the 3D modeling. Aaron, he was there walking us through the design process, and just everyone was a huge help. Can we get a round of applause for them? These guys, they voluntarily spent countless hours with this group of high school kids teaching us things that, like Jordan mentioned, are college level stuff. And we mostly picked it all up, but there's still more that we have to learn. So, you know, I want to thank you guys as well for being here tonight, just supporting our program. It's a huge inspiration for us. It gives us hope for the future of this program. And with that being said, I want to encourage you all to go out and pressure someone to be here. We were all sort of pressured, whether that be by parents, family, friends, siblings, teachers, all of those people. They told us, hey, you got to go try this out. So we showed up, and once we got going, it didn't take a whole lot of pressure for us to keep coming back to practice. We all loved being here. But we still need more kids. We got a group of 6 of us here, and there's still more to do. So really, anyone that wants to be a part of this, we have a job for them. We got needs for the machining people, programming people, electrical people, assembly people, whatever. If they want something to do, join the robotics team. It would be a great help, and you don't even have to know how to do stuff. Jordan used to say that all you have to do is be able to breathe. Just show up and you'll learn stuff. We're a great example of that, I feel like. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Just thank you all for coming out tonight.
It takes a lot of courage for a high school student to willingly stand in front of a group of relatively strangers and also forever on the internet and talk. So thank you, Cody, for being able to, or being willing to, talk about this a little bit. He was volunteered by some of his teammates when he wasn't around, so, they're pretty close-knit group of students, and I don't know if they were necessarily on the path to be friends with each other prior to the start. We have 2 freshmen here. We have a 3rd freshman on the team, and a sophomore and 2 juniors. So, the juniors don't generally hang out with the freshmen here unless there's a prior connection, and we are very happy to have built that. That being said, the fun, part of this whole presentation is being able to see the robot run. One of the things that FRC does when they introduce a team, and I'll demonstrate here, but they make a big show out of it, right? Introducing each team. When we compete, there are 6 robots on the field. It is a 3 versus 3 match. So in total, I think we play with something like several dozen random teams throughout the competition. If one of the students want to do some quick math there, we do 10 matches for the qualifying, and we compete with 2 teams. Each match is a different 2 teams, and we are competing against 3 random teams, and each match, that alliance makeup looks totally different, right? So they have to be able to adapt here on the playing field. And every year, FRC challenges students by coming up with a new game. So this year, students needed to, everything was music themed, which is amazing that it was music themed, right? I love STEAM over STEM, right? Because you include that art. And this is a great example. So students were able to score some different points here based on what they called the speaker and the amp. They had a stage, which we did not construct a stage, that the robot was able to climb onto. There was a microphone at the top that they could shoot their notes onto and try and get all these bonus points. They go all out when it comes to naming everything and trying to make it just a totally immersive game each and every year, right? So we're going to start the demonstration here, and I think the best way to start this demonstration is to show you how FRC introduces people. Now, I'm probably not going to be as good as them. They have lots of experience, but usually, right, they come out here and they'll say something along the lines of, "From Jamestown, North Dakota, we have team 7578, the Quantum Mechanics." And then they wave the flag, right? Once they introduce all the teams, they say, "Drivers behind the line," though I think we're waiting for our robot to maybe connect here a little bit. And they start the match without actually touching the robot, which sounds crazy that they're driving. We just call it autonomous. This is where our programmers, really have to shine through because the drivers can't do anything during this time period. Now, our programmers did an amazing job being able to program this robot. We can only carry one of these orange foam discs at a time, and we call them notes, by the way. So if I keep referencing notes, that's what I'm talking about. And so they had to be able to, in the first 15 seconds of the match, score as many of these points as possible. They got more points for doing it without the robot being controlled by the human players or the drivers. So I think we're ready to demonstrate this, right? Is the robot connected? Okay, we're ready. So it'll be something along the lines of "Drivers behind the line. In 3, 2, 1. Da-da-da-da. That was pretty impressive, right? Shout out to Brandon and Cody, who got this all to work and programmed it and spent many, many late hours. Now, you probably noticed the robot was kind of loud. It gets louder, so I will try not to talk over the robot here as much. But now that we've scored these points, we're in position to score this next one. So if you guys want to score that one real quick. So now that was human controlled. So they can start going through here, going through a cycle. Now, take a look at those lights. Did you guys see that? Let's try that again. Shoot this one out. Let's Let's check out those lights. They forgot to raise the arm. There's a lot of pressure here. You don't get seen when you're at competition. It's all dark, and there's just a bunch of lights out here. Pay attention to these lights. That is how our robot communicates to the players that they have picked up a note successfully. Because in reality, right, well, they might be able to see these notes up here. The actual playing field that they are on is about the size of a basketball court. And there are two giant stages in the way, which makes it really difficult to see. So if Brennan were to come really far away, and he'll probably be able to see anywhere on our quarter field here, but he can just look for those lights to see that it's successfully picked up. Now, over here, this is the amp. This is another way. Our team had to figure out a design, and what we wanted to do was be able to shoot both into the speaker and into the amp at the same time, which I think was a bit of an engineering challenge for them. Thankfully, we have some pretty amazing mentors who were able to get them to think about these things and keep going. I'll step out of the way here so Brennan can come to this side of the field and pick up some notes. Now, during the competition, generally we would have the coach would be back there. And the coach would be over there trying to tell them where to go, what to do, right? Which just helps them with that communication aspect and being able to go pretty quick. Now, I've warned Brennan not to hit me while I'm on the playing field here since there's a moving robot. This is a great way to get kicked out of a first competition, is standing in the playing field when there's a robot moving. And it takes a lot of trust here in Brennan to not hit me with that robot. It is 122.1 pounds, and it's going very slow right now. It can go much, much faster. Brennan, try not to drive too much faster, though. There's not a lot of space. Now, the match goes in total for about 3 minutes. The students have some time here, but in the last 20 or so seconds of the match, they're going to want to be able to climb that robot for additional points. So that climbing would happen on the stage, and the stage stands roughly about here and forms a triangle. Now, we didn't build that game piece this year, so we are going to demonstrate with a different method here. And right now, the robot is off the ground, and it's staying there. So what would happen is the robot would automatically disconnect. You guys can probably lower the robot too now. But the robot would be completely disconnected from the driver's station at the end of the match when the final tone goes off. And the robot has to be able to hang for, 5 seconds after the end of the match in order to count for points. They might have forgotten how to lower the robot here. We've never actually had to lower the robot, guys, so this is the first time. Are you able to? Can you lower it? I don't think we anticipated needing to be able to lower the robot down. Okay, this is what we're going to do then. Very carefully, the robot is currently disabled, so it is safe to be around it as long as the students don't re-enable it. And this is what they would do at the end of the match. They would come out to the field, they would pick the robot up and put it onto a cart, and they'd haul it off to the pit. Now, usually when we were hauling it off to the pit, we would have to fix things on the robot. Fortunately, that is not the case today. We don't have to fix anything after we got this done here. This is just scratching the surface of what the robots can do. Now, one thing I really want to point out, one of my favorite things to point out, is our swerve module. So Brennan, I'm going to have you drive forward here. Now, imagine if your cars could do that. That'd be terrifying, but think about this. Brennan, drive the robot straight sideways. Parallel parking would be so easy if we had something like this, right? The team, has invested a lot of money into making sure we have some of the best equipment on here for this robot. And so when we're done with this presentation, we would encourage you to come up here and ask the students about the robot. And we also would ask that if you're interested, you can check out our space where we built, designed, programmed the robot and did most of the testing, which some of our students can lead the way for that. But Brendan, do you want to clean up the playing field here with these notes? I promise the carpet didn't move like this at competition. This is a limitation of our space. Oh, you want to keep this going? we can keep going. I mean, this is Lena's favorite part. She got to throw the notes up and try and get them onto the microphone. Now, I couldn't do this presentation without talking about our very first time driving in a match. Brennan knows exactly what I'm about to say. We started the match. I don't even think we had autonomous running that time for that practice match. This is the first practice match of the entire competition. Practice match 1, right? We are 20 seconds into the competition, and you see this square here? There was a giant lighting truss that would stick out here. Now, Brennan maybe should have been paying a little closer attention to the playing field and drove full speed straight into that with the wrong side of the robot. Do you want to raise the arm just a little bit here and maybe move the robot out to the center of the field here? So, this piece right here took the brunt of it, and we had to replace this. Match 1, practice match 1. We didn't even get to the competition yet, and we were already repairing the robot. And it wasn't the only time. Sometimes robots would run into us, right? That is one of the downsides of having something that sticks outside of what we call our frame or our perimeter here, is that if it gets hit on something, it's a lot more likely to break. So, Brendan, do you remember what we kept yelling? What word we kept yelling? Pivot, right? And you can just see Cody during the matches. Pivot, 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 right? And I think on more than one occasion, me watching the stream from the pits, shouting pivot way too loudly in a relatively quiet space or quieter space and having a bunch of people turning and going, what is he talking about, right? If we want to hit something, we want to hit it with the bumper. But our first goal is to try and not to hit things, right? Okay. Let's pick up this note. We'll clean up the playing field here. Now, before I stop talking and I allow you guys to come up here to the robot, you guys, if you're interested, if you have questions, and especially those of you that are streaming, you can check us out on Facebook. It is James Valley Robotics Association. My email is on that Facebook page so that you guys can email me questions. You can shoot us messages on the Messenger app there and get a hold of us. Or you can reach out to Jamestown High School. They'll be able to get you in contact with me in some way, shape, or form. I think that's all I have. So thank you all. Oh, did Steve have a question that he wanted answered for him? A what? Oh, Yeah, throw a note out here. You're going to want to manually aim this. You're going to want to manually aim this. Turn it this way. Okay, raise the arm. We're going to have to do some physics here, I think. Oh. When does it not go to 50% power? Okay. Cody just bummed me out a little bit here. We had a safety mechanism put in place on the robot so that we didn't accidentally shoot it really hard at something and potentially break it. If the robot arm is positioned in one of its preset locations, it changes the speed and the power of the motors. Otherwise, it is set to 50% power. So no matter how we shoot this, which you guys are definitely going to aim higher, you do not want to be higher. You're going to want to manually raise that up here. Okay. Hopefully we don't hit anyone. %50 power. Imagine what it can do when we have 100% power on that. That's actually why we had the safety put in place. We also reduced the actual speed of the drive system so that Brennan can't drive at full speed either, because that is a disaster waiting to happen. Is there anything else that I'm missing that I should tell them about? Okay. Now, thank you all for coming. You can hop up here once they disable the robot. You know the robot's disabled when the orange blinking light is solid. That means that it is safe to come up here and approach, ask questions. We'll also have a couple of students that can take you to the robotics room. In the robotics room, we have 2 monitors up right now. You can take a look at some of the images we have going, as well as some of the matches are playing on the other monitors. So thank you all for coming, and come say hi to the robot. Oh, I guess one more thing. What's our robot's name? Twitchy. Twitchy is the name of the robot. It's a bit twitchy. Brandon wants me to talk about Twitchy. The robot has a tendency to shake a lot when we raise the arm. It didn't do it a lot today, so... I guess I'll turn it over to Brandon here.
So as we were working on the robot, we kept encountering an issue where if we drove forwards or put too much power into the drive system, the robot would suddenly stop and start stuttering and twitching around on the field. Part of that was on the robot, there's a set of wiring called the CAN bus, and that's what provides the communication to all the motors and sensors on the robot. And we were having some loose connections on those, and so every time the robot would move too far, a connection would shake loose, and you would start getting dropped information between things. And so the robot would stutter and shake, and it would cause the whole thing to just twitch like crazy. And so that's kind of where the name Twitchy came from. We did eventually fix it, but that is the backstory to that.
We fixed it at competition. Okay, you guys can come on forward, ask some questions. I think we'll have Cody and Brock here to answer a lot of the questions. We made them talk to all the judges and the inspectors and make sure everything's good. So you guys can grill them with questions and make sure they know what they're talking about.